Two little mice fell into a bucket of cream.
Two little mice fell in a bucket of cream.
Which mouse am I? I don't know. Which mouse are you? Either way, doesn't matter what type of mouse you are. All mice are welcome on the Cinema 9 podcast. That's right. Michael Govier, Travis Roy, Eric Branstrom, three human beings who, for some reason, over the course of their human experiences, have decided to find a passion and an interest in film. So that's why we do this show. We also enjoy each other's company. We're lifelong friends, and we love to share it with you guys. Travis, what's the number one reason you do this show?
Number one reason I do this show is to hang out with my friends, you two, and talk movies. That's literally the number one reason to do it.
That is so beautiful. What a sweet man.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And before we move on, I want to give a shout out, to all of the people affected by Hurricane Ida from Louisiana to New York State, but also to the good people of Manayunk, where I lived for a long time, experiencing some severe flooding in that beautiful town. So to the people of Manayunk and Roxborough and Philadelphia in general, I send love and good thoughts. Manayunk is flooded. The worst it's been flooded since 1880. It's
no shit.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. Now it's the floodwaters have already receded for the most part, so but the damage is intense. And now
it's
of course, where I lived and where you briefly lived with me was at the top of a cliff, which wouldn't have been affected by it. But that main street goes right along a canal, and that whole canal
downtown. The Schuylkill.
Yeah, the Schuylkill. Yeah, the
Schuylkill. Schuylkill. I've said it 15 different ways in my life.
Schuylkill, but
I did learn Schuylkill.
Yeah, everyone can be forgiven for mispronouncing that fucking mealy mouth, mash mouth word. But yes, cheers to the people of Manayunk and all the people of Philadelphia and the world in general.
Up, man. Fuck. This storm must have been the real deal. There was tornadoes in Maryland and Philadelphia too in the area.
Yeah. Temple got fucked up. The part of the satellite campus.
Satellite.
Dave Matthews out here is fine. I'm pleased to report.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to bring levity to the people who need a laugh right now. That's all. Eric Branstrom, have you been affected by Hurricane Ida in any way?
No, but I have been supremely affected by the taste of this delicious new Coke Zero Sugar. They changed the flavor. It's fucking fantastic.
What, are you getting paid by Coca-Cola now?
Yeah. I need the side gig. I encourage everyone to try this product.
Yeah. Wait, so this is not the Coke Zero? This is the other one?
No, this is a new Coke Zero. They just changed the flavor. It says now more delicious, and they're not wrong. It's so good.
Is it that Coke coffee stuff I've been seeing that someone thought was a good idea?
No, they discontinued that shit. But this is fantastic.
Why?
Coffee!
I said coffee.
Coffee.
Two little mice fell in a bucket of cream.
Today I am that mouse.
Someone wrote that dialogue.
God damn it! It's just so. Oh God, we can't do that movie because it's obviously too enjoyable. It's too easy. So
I mean, yeah, right? maybe a guest host or a listener's choice someday, but I don't need to question if that movie holds up or not.
Even Luke thinks it's good, and he is like super anti-formulaic, typical stuff, and he approves of that film, and he's hard to please. He doesn't usually like that kind of stuff, so you gotta take a grain of salt when someone like that says it's a solid film.
If it's good enough for friend of the show, Luke.
Yeah, man. It's not Werner Herzog. Luke likes it. Wow, huge surprise. Oh, yikks. Oh, yeah.
Drops are still coming.
Anyways, today on the Cinema 9 pod, you see this guy behind me.
Oh, he looks pretty. Who's that? Is that Jack Nicholson? But he looks angry.
Rick Baker, you're better than that. You're better than that scene, Rick Baker, I'll tell you. Yeah, we're doing Wolf. Is that a VHS copy, Eric?
It is. Yep, the very VHS I've played many times.
I had that same one in my not that same exact one, but I had the same edition in my home for many years.
It's like I turned it off halfway through my last viewing, which was probably about 20 years ago. Wonder what happened.
You probably fell asleep. You're ready for bed. You'd seen it so many times. You just turn it off towards the end.
How long have you owned that copy of Wolf on VHS?
1994.
Well,
wow.
You bought the year it came out?
Absolutely. Yeah, as soon as it hit shelves.
I don't know.
95 probably.
Yeah, I don't know if it was available 94.
You remember how movies used to work?
Years.
Take a year. Yeah, 2 years later. So.
2 years.
You're spoiled today, folks, with your video on demand. There was a time where we all had to wait and wait.
2-year window.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
To wait so long.
Well, you could pay like $150 for a VHS copy yourself, and if you special ordered it. Remember that scene?
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm gonna go through this catalog and I'm gonna order movies at $150 a pop because money is meaningless to me.
I still remember telling a customer at Blockbuster that he had to pay $150 for a Drowning Mona VHS that he lost.
What do you mean I can't buy One Night at McCool's?
He went to collections.
Collections will get you. Yeah.
Yep. Collections.
That's not cool. Gotcha. Disrespectful. But, this show is about Wolf today. We're going to find out, does Wolf hold up or not? That's the main focus. Travis selected this film. We're back at the top of the rotation. And there's been a lot of Wolf talk. Brotherhood of the Wolf. Wolf, the movie today. This will be the last Wolf movie for a bit. I'm going to lock that in as a solemn promise, at least for my end. I mean, but who knows?
I could pick a Wolf movie next time. Who fucking cares? I'll do
Maybe
Wolf
Eric will
Creek
pick one at the end of the show. You're right. Who's to say for sure? But we'll find out if it holds up, and we're going to talk turkey. We'll talk movies, because that's what we do here on the Cinema 9 podcast. We introduced ourselves. Yeah, well, we might talk about some turkey. I don't know. I mean, turkey can be good at times, and it has value. I like smoked turkey, though. It's a little better. So, Lunchables. When's the last time you had a Lunchable?
Recently. I love Lunchables, man. It's like 3,000 milligrams of sodium per cracker.
How could you possibly,
I'm sorry, it's good.
My ex liked those things, so I tried one a couple years ago. I could not believe that I ever would put something I'm not someone who's like, "Ooh, it's so processed."
No, you're not. You're not.
I'll eat styrofoam. I don't give a fuck. But that is so fucking processed.
Dude, like slimy silver dollar discs of turkey product.
Yeah, turkey meat product, some ill-defined meat.
True. It's like the crab KRAB of turkey. It's not even turkey.
We're going to do a documentary, The Desperate Men of Lunchables.
Desperate Men of Lunchables, yeah. Starring Will Patton. Starring Will Patton as turkey.
Will Patton, Richard Jenkins sitting around eating Lunchables.
Richard Jenkins as the cheese.
He's in everything.
Travis, by the way, we mentioned this on the previous show, but we want to bump it again. Travis was on Donnie Richmond's show, the All-American Spook Show. And we want to make sure you check that out if you haven't had a chance yet. Travis, what do you think of that?
Thanks for the extra plug. I was on the 5th episode of their werewolf history thing and I mistakenly said on that episode that I was on of theirs that I wrote my my master's thesis on wolves, which wasn't true. I wrote my I know, shocking. I wrote my capstone paper in my undergrad on wolves. But wolves is something. It's true. I like wolves. I like werewolves a lot. I like all things. I like all canids. What can I say? I got 2 dogs one on either side of me right now. In fact, so I like wolves and I like Jack Nicholson. So where could you go wrong here?
Well, I thought about that last night. I remembered, God, Travis is really into wolves, not just from what he's been doing recently, but he actually wrote. I thought there was part of your college experience was related to wolves, and that makes sense. So now I know that to be true as a fact.
I like wolves. It's true.
This guy loves a good wolf. You gotta get that wolf.
Taquito.
Oh boy. Yep, taquito.
2 little mice.
I wanted to do. By the way, Travis, do.
By the way, do you whiskey laugh? I had a question for you. Do you whiskey laugh?
Do wolves eat mice? By the way, I don't know.
I think they generally go off after bigger prey.
Okay.
I think, but they'll probably take what they can get.
If it was a desperate hour, they
sure. I don't think
might eat a mouse in a bucket of cream.
They would probably be delighted to find a cream covered mouse.
Who the fuck's got a bucket of cream? I mean, what is that anyway?
Who's got a bucket of cream covered mice? I mean, this is getting awfully specific, Christopher Walken.
Getting very weird.
Yeah, I mean, if you fell in cream, isn't cream naturally, if it's not made or adjusted in any way, it's pretty thick, isn't it? Like straight up cream?
Yeah.
Depends on how hard and often you churn it. I mean.
We're live talking mice.
We're talking cream.
How
mice
is the rhetorical cream?
Jesus,
we gotta get rid of that. Whoa!
There it is. Dobesby.
Wow, that is that is longer than I thought it would be.
It's a lot longer when you're like not watching the movie. You're just like airing a live podcast for people to listen to someone else yell wolf.
Yeah, you're right. That does bring a different context to it. Anyways, I didn't even mention this yet, but sorry we weren't on time. DTE just decided to shut off my power due to emergency issues that needed to be adjusted. They also turned off the internet as well. So
The internet.
something was going down. If you live in Southeast Michigan, you know that DTE sucks. And odds are, wherever you are in the great United States, your power company is not your friend. I'm just going to throw that out there. It's a safe bet.
Ooh, fucking Jacobin over here coming in with the hot take.
Oh, bye. Get rid of the landlord class. Time for them to go. Oh, bye. All right, so let's get into our quarantine viewing picks, as we always do. And by the way, we did our last week's episode with our pal Aaron Worley. If you missed that one, go check it out. He was a fun guest. He did a rock solid job. In terms of all the guests we've had on the show over 15 months or so, he was definitely up there. He did a pretty solid job. So kudos to you, buddy.
We rank you all. If you come on our show, be aware we will rank you and talk about you.
Yeah.
Fucking A-right. We will definitely rank your ass. All right, Travis, what do you got?
Let's see. I watched a few movies, including The Curse of the Werewolf from 1961.
Yes, finally.
Have you seen it, Eric?
Oh, I love it, man. I keep trying to get you to watch it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a couple classic werewolf movies that I've been due to watch, so I guess I lost track of which one. But Oliver Reed. I wish it's an unconventional movie. Like they kind of start like way earlier in the story than they need to, and like they don't bring Oliver Reed in for like almost like halfway through the movie or so, and it's like what. There's some really weird pacing things going on here. It's like imagine like the main character, but like instead of getting their story, you're gonna get the mother's story for no fucking reason. Anyways, but it took its subject matter seriously. So for that, it was very much a predecessor to Wolf. I mean, not just that it's a werewolf movie, but that it fucking
Demon Wolf. Sorry, we don't say werewolf.
Demon Wolf.
Would you honor me with your bite, Mike?
I would definitely I would do that.
I was watching the movie to already get in. Would you, sitting in a man's apartment who you just met, sipping on tea without honey, would you be able to just not just bite a stranger's hand, but like break skin? He didn't just wash his hands or anything.
Very relaxed environment. Yeah. Hey, we're very relaxed here, having some tea. Bite my hand.
Too relaxed. Like that dude should have like came out with like a bottle of like whiskey, like just slap each other in the face a few times first, piss each other off, direct personal insults, and then
you got to build up to it, at least in terms of like emotional intimacy. You got to get drunk together first. I get that.
Very, very true. Very true.
I watched, friend of the show, fan of the show, Anton Orenko. Shout out to him.
Oh yes,
he's working on. He's got a documentary called A Manchester Story about the bombing there at the Ariana Grande concert in 2017. It's a beautiful documentary, very much about the victims of the violence. Did you watch it, Mike?
Yeah, I did. I ended up turning it on. I felt like I at least owed it to Anton because he supports our show, and it ended up being very interesting and something I hadn't really thought of. I remember when it happened and like, oh shit, but I didn't give a fuck about Ariana Grande, so it wasn't as prioritized in terms of traumatic events in my life. But shit, it was really kind of well done. Kudos to Anton. Well done, sir.
Yeah, it really drives home like the community of Manchester, and like I love that you never get like they don't say the perpetrator's name, supposed reasons, all that shit is like not there. It's just the victims. It's just people that were people who lost people who were in the blast, people who were not anywhere near the blast but were part of the community and they were affected by it too. I thought it really was it handled a situation like that really, really well.
Yeah, I'm really like into Manchester because I love New Order and shit. Like, there's a huge movie. I mean, The Smiths. There's a lot of musical history that goes back to Manchester a long time. So I admit that I was a little more open to enjoying it, but that doesn't take away from it. It's if you're into that kind of stuff, like learning about a community and how you can overcome bad times and realize that there's more to life than just focusing on the negative moment, I think it's a good piece of documentarian film. I do. Documentarian film?
Documentary film? I don't know, but well put.
Shit. Why did I should have just said documentary film. Sorry. Anyways, kudos to you, Anton. Woo! Let's give him a round of applause. Nice job.
Yeah, so A Manchester Story, not quite available to the public yet, but it's supposed to be released very soon. So keep an eye out for that. A Manchester Story. I watched French Exit. I figured we're watching a Michelle Pfeiffer movie. This is a Michelle Pfeiffer movie from last year that there was a lot of Oscar buzz about it for her. And performance, maybe one of the best performances of her career, which says a lot. But it's definitely one of those movies where like you can shove an amazing performance in there, but you still have a boring movie. It's just really kind of like a boring movie. So if you're a Michelle Pfeiffer fan, I would recommend it because I mean it's a really strong performance from her. But man,
it's no Tequila Sunrise though.
It's no Tequila fucking Sunrise. I'll tell you that. What's Cruella?
Oh, I haven't watched that yet.
I have mixed feelings, especially about. I have mixed feelings about like the whole approach to like Disney films, where they're gonna keep on like taking the villain and turn them into the protagonist. I have some mixed feelings about that, and I have some mixed feelings about the way it was done with this film. No spoilers, but in particular the treatment of the Dalmatians in this film. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But I will say I was entertained. I like it was more or less what I expected for a Disney film in 2021. I imagine there'll be a sequel, and I don't hate the idea because Emma Stone was really solid in it. I mean, it was a perfect role for her. A little predictable, but it killed an evening. Eric, you watched it too?
I watched it last week, and I hated it.
Yeah,
and I kind of was looking forward to it because I love Emma Stone, and like it looked fun.
You watched the Beauty and the Beast remake or the update.
Yeah, I loved that, but I just don't know why it exists. I don't understand who this was made for. I was sitting there, and I'm like, what would a kid think of this movie? I can only imagine they'd be like either like creeped out or just bored out of their minds. Like, who is the audience for this?
Us, I guess. Hot Topic shoppers.
I don't know, man. This tendency to neuter these villains. Like, I don't need to know that like Jafar was like abused as a kid. Like just why can't these villains just be evil for the sake of evil? It's all part of the good versus evil dichotomy of Disney.
No, what are you saying?
I'm totally into getting nuance and finding deeper meaning as to what motivates someone to do bad things, because I don't really like the Disney. I mean, as much as I love Disney, I don't like the painted white, painted black, good guy, bad guy. I like the gray area. I really do like the gray area in anything. So I do kind of like it, but like I just feel like it's not been handled very well yet. I thought that the first Maleficent movie was okay.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah, I thought that one. I didn't watch the second one, but I thought the first one was pretty good. But
Eric. Well, aren't you someone who you want better writing? You want improved character studies, development of characters in writing. Wouldn't fleshed out evil characters having a purpose for their evil reasons? Because that's how life really works. What we know about the human experience now is that you don't just become evil for the fuck of it. You really don't.
Cartoons can and should, in my opinion, especially classic Disney characters like this. It gives the balance to the good. That's like saying
the Joker was done right.
Just be good
in the Dark
Knight. That's a completely
Joker
different
was done right. I'll give
film.
you that. But that was an outlier.
I don't mind like them giving me the deeper motivations. I don't necessarily want them to turn the bad guy into the good guy. Turn the bad guy into the protagonist is
that's
one
another
thing.
Story. Yeah,
turning them into the protagonist. I'm on board with that. But turning them into genuinely like the good guy and like they were misunderstood all along and that kind of stuff, I'm not really on board with that. But
that's
this was
a whole side issue, and I completely agree with you there.
Yeah, but it was entertaining.
Dr. Harris. Yes? Do you concur?
I should have concurred. I watched Jacob's Wife, also from last year, which it stars Barbara Crampton and Larry Fessenden. And if you know who Barbara Crampton and Larry Fessenden are, then you're already on board with watching this movie.
Are these real names?
If you don't know who Barbara Crampton and Larry Fessenden are, then you're not going to give a fuck. But they're horror icons. They're both horror icons, and it's. I mean, you don't get Larry Fessenden starring in a lot of roles. He's like second lead here. And the budget is but if you like the two of them, I would definitely recommend Jacob's Wife. If you like horror movies, like it's worth checking out. There's some unique things going on with some familiar tropes here. Last but not least, I watched sometimes you watch a classic and you're like, I can see where this was probably awesome in its time, you know. And sometimes you watch a classic and you're like, what the fuck, like this sucks. And sometimes you watch a classic and you're like, fuck me, this is incredible. I watched Werner Herzog's Aguirre, The Wrath of God from 1972, and it's incredible. I mean, it was so good. Klaus Kinski was incredible. The pacing is incredible. The story itself is incredible. The you know, like it sucked me right the fuck in, and really incredible movie. And you know, I mean, it's 50 years old. It doesn't need me to speak its praises at this point. But if you've never seen Aguirre, The Wrath of God, check it out. It's awesome.
I've actually never seen that one. That's a good recommendation. Eric Branstrom, did you get rid of that wolf?
Gonna get rid of that wolf.
Yes, took care of the wolf, Mike. Where's the drop?
Good job. No, I'm not going to do it.
It's too long. We've established that.
Yeah, you know, I watched Money Train. Well, let me rephrase that. I watched literally like 80% of it until finally I found the remote and was able to turn it off. This is one of the dumbest movies
Does it
I've
have
ever
the scene
seen
in
my
it?
entire life.
Or is it post? Is it edited out? The scene that got the big deal with the movie. Remember, there was that scene that they deleted because somebody murdered somebody in New York City.
Oh no, it's still in there. It's still in there.
Oh, great. Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not sure I get that.
Lighting someone on fire with lighter fluid scene.
Oh yeah, that's like the plot of the movie. We got a serial arsonist lighting up toll booth operators. That's
I've never seen it. I've never seen it. So
don't get that in every Christmas movie.
Yeah,
is it a Christmas movie? All right, I'll add it to my list.
Between Christmas and New Year's Eve, one of those kind of movies.
That's not a Christmas trope in film, lighting toll booth operators on fire.
I think it happened in A Christmas Story, but I don't think it happened in anything else.
I mean, I don't understand how this passed the script stage. It's so inept. It's so painfully unfunny.
Chris Cooper's hair,
I don't understand it.
How about the fact that it just goes in a million directions and then it decides to end as a heist movie?
How about the fact that one of Robert Blake, an actual murderer's lines in the film is, "You're on the edge. You're a wreck looking for someplace to happen, and I'll fuck you dead." That's what he says to Woody Harrelson.
I'll fuck you dead.
I'm going to find that.
Blake. And then they steal that little train from him.
Take his train and gets pissed.
I'm going to find that.
Yeah.
I watched Predator 2, and it's been many, many years since I sat there and watched this movie.
I'm ready to hear some fucking praise for Predator 2.
Yeah, like I said, it's been a while, Travis, and I gotta tell you, man, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It's so fucking awesome.
It's
still
awesome.
To this day. It's obscenely violent. It's like one of the most grotesque. It would like make Francis Bacon blush. It's like grotesquely violent. It's fucking weird. It's almost like disturbing how like horrifically violent it is. But yeah, I mean, how it works is beyond me, because like you go from like this tough mercenary played by Arnold Schwarzenegger to like an overworked cop as your protagonist, and yet Danny Glover's fucking awesome as Mike Harrigan. Like,
he's great.
I think it's right up there with the original. It's fucking incredible, man.
Dude, I'm gonna be sacrilegious. I've always preferred it over the original. I know that's sacrilegious, but I just love the fuck out of that movie. Mostly because of the setting. Like the original is like in a lot of ways like a better movie. I acknowledge it's a better made movie, but I love the setting of the second one. I love the it's a more diverse cast.
Yeah,
the people are different. They have very different interactions, and we get a lot of backstory with the creature, which I love. That
awesome.
Too.
Yeah. So yeah, if it's been a while, check it out, man. Because we're talking about like if that design isn't right, I don't know if this character would work. But we're talking about, in my opinion, like the coolest, the best designed like creature like in any movie that I've ever seen. Like they just nailed it. He's so awesome. All the little stuff he has when he's repairing his own wounds and stuff. It's so awesome.
And that Bill Paxton subway scene is one of my all-time favorite action sequences.
So good, man.
Wow. I never saw the movie until about 10 years ago. So I was way late to Predator 2 because I always saw it on Cinemax or HBO. And I'm like, this doesn't look anything like the original when I was younger. So I'm like, fuck that. I'd see like a scene or two and I'd be like, I'm out of here. This isn't Predator. It's total sellout. This movie's dumb. But when I finally watched it, I was like, whoa, this is Mike. You were immature and you've grown as a human.
I grew up with both copies in my house and I wore the fuck out of Predator 2. What can I say?
Yeah. Dude.
I was wrong.
Yeah, La Bamba, Louis Valdez, 1987.
Oh, I did this the other day when you were watching the movie. It reminded me of blah 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 blah. Dude,
oh, okay. All right.
Blah 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 blah.
Blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah. But yeah, man, still completely holds up in my opinion. The way that Louis Valdez, the director, like shows like the culture of like the Latin Americans in 1950s America and like the pride of their people and stuff. Like I love all that little stuff with the family.
It's a
and
progressive
all that,
movie. It really was.
Yeah,
I'm glad that we grew up as children with that type of movie being.
I was thinking that too, man. Yeah, I was thinking that too. And
even though Lou Diamond Phillips, I know he's not Hispanic descent, so but still, that doesn't delete everything else about the movie that's still authentic and really ahead of its time.
Isaiah Morales should have gotten the Best Supporting Oscar, man. I could feel myself. I knew it was coming. Like an hour in, I was like, I'm gonna lose it. I lost it.
So well,
I lost it.
This is a period of history that is whitewashed, and people did this intentionally because they were white rockers who exploited a lot of people who were not white and took advantage of that culture and the music and rock and roll and the early days of that. And the fact that this movie was, I know it was made in the 80s, but it was still made. And I think it's an important film that, forget if it's good or not. The fact that it exists and the way it was done, I still think it was really well done. And I think the legacy will maintain itself for many decades.
It had. I mean, they added it. They register it for its cultural relevance in film. So it's in the Library of Congress, deservedly so. I mean, I just love the music is off the chart. We're talking about one of the best produced, like what do you call it? Like music sound engineering in film, whatever, but it's just so crisp.
Los Lobos?
Whatever you got.
Marshall Crenshaw as Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly, you got Brian Setzer as Eddie Cochran. I love it, man. It's so fucking good.
Don't forget the Big Bopper. Hello, baby. Big Bopper's so dumb. I know he died in a plane crash, but he's so dumb.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely like the last one. So I watched this movie called All About Steve.
Oh!
You ever heard of this fucking movie?
Yeah,
yes.
I've seen that movie.
I like
weird fuck movie.
I had to check and make sure I didn't dream that I watched this. It's an actual movie. I think it came out in like 2012. It's so like how is this so? Sandra Bullock is she writes crossword puzzle and thinks that Bradley Cooper is like into her, and like then she falls down a well and becomes this national sensation. 4.6 on IMDb, 6.8 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's horrific, man. It's unbelievable.
It's a wild ride, and it's not particularly good. But I'll tell you this: it's a different kind of role for Sandra Bullock. If you go in thinking it's going to be like a typical rom-com, and it's not that.
Oh, it's horrible. It's fucking one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
I'm not calling it good.
Yeah, man.
Well, Thomas Hayden Church is in it at least.
Yeah.
I guess, but that's it.
He is. So. I mean, he literally is, just for the record.
No, you can't take that away from him.
He's in it.
But Mike, remember that TV show Ned and Stacy? He was in
Ned
that.
and Stacy?
I liked Ned and Stacy.
Deborah Messing.
Yeah.
Thomas Hayden Church. Maybe it wasn't bad.
Wings.
Oh,
I fucking love Wings.
Dude,
man.
Wings.
People love Wings. There's a whole cult of Wings people. Trust me, they're
Wings.
out there.
Yeah.
That guy with the mustache, the fat guy with the mustache. Who's that guy?
Robert Pastorelli.
Is that his name?
Yeah, the guy like the painting overalls. Is that the fucking dude you're talking about?
No, the guy in the suit.
No, the guy. The guy in the competing.
I don't fucking know.
And he was Ronald. I think the character's name was Ronald. I want to say.
I don't remember the name.
Fucking Wings talk.
Wings talk.
Wings.
I love Wings.
The guy. I know you're talking about. It's funny.
That's Quagmire. Yeah.
Love Wings. He's pissed. David Schramm. That guy's name as a character was Roy Biggins.
Roy Biggins. I forgot my own last name. That's cool.
That is shocking.
Cool, man.
All right. Is that all you watched?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wrapping it up with All About Steve. Okay.
Yeah, All About Steve.
Tonight, all new All About Steve. Oh, shit, man. Well, I actually watched some movies this week, so I got back in the game so I can participate in this part of the show again. I watched, what did I watch? So with the La Bamba talk, which you brought up while you were watching it, I fired up for the very first time the Buddy Holly story as a compliment to La Bamba. And damn, I should have watched that movie sooner. It was fantastic.
Can't believe you've never seen it.
Who played him?
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey, nominated for Best Actor.
Gary fucking Busey,
great performance.
Man. It's unreal, Travis. 1978. He's 33 in real life. Buddy Holly died when he was 22, I believe. So,
yeah, you're right.
But he pulls it off. He looks it. He also plays all the guitar parts, sings all the parts. All the music is done in real time and staged. It's not bullshit in any way. So I got to give him more credit for that. He He deserves all the accolades he got for that
Man,
film.
we were
and
just
I'm-
talking Predator 2. He's really
Yeah.
fantastic in Predator 2. Too late to go home now.
Yeah. He brings that Buseyness to the character, but he never makes it too Busey either. Like Buddy Holly and the way he is and acts and the way he carried himself, whether it was true or not, I never spent a day with Buddy Holly personally.
Me neither.
But
No.
it's authentic because it's done in a period which is post 50s, 20 years after the 50s, but it's still old enough where they can capture the period quite well, and it's not full of itself. That's why this movie's good, because his wife, Maria, she really, really was battling over how to do this movie. Didn't want to do it at a big studio, at a big production. They wanted to be more hungry people who would give it the the authenticity it deserved. And I think they really nailed that. So I'm going to strongly recommend the Buddy Holly story. If you've never seen it, check it out. Good stuff.
So, did anyone watch the Big Bopper story? Can we round out this Day of the Music Guide trilogy?
Does it exist?
Probably not.
I've seen Great Balls of Fire. It's really
Probably
awkward.
not.
I've seen Great Balls of... Oh, Winona Ryder. Great Balls of
it's
Fire.
super
Yeah,
awkward.
yeah.
Awkward.
Very awkward.
I will tell you this. In the Buddy Holly story, the guy who plays the Big Bopper is someone I definitely know. I just don't know his name, but you see his face, you instantly know this guy. Trust me. It's like, oh, shit, it's that guy. It's undeniable. I'm going to try to look up his name, but he's been around for a long time. He's had a whole career. In fact, I think he was the guy. Oh, yeah. Gaylord Sartain.
Yeah, dude, it's a guy from the Ernest films. Like,
Yeah, I was
like
just
the
going
big
to
guy.
say, yeah. Eggs-erroneous.
Eggs-erroneous.
Oh, that guy.
Gaylord Sartain.
Eggs-erroneous.
Right?
That's
the chef in,
right?
in the camp.
Yep. That's the first thing I think of is eggs-erroneous.
Chef. I don't know if I'd say chef.
The gourmet.
Chef.
He's a cook.
Yep.
Sorry.
He's still alive, by the
17
way.
herbs and spices smuggled into America by Tibetan monks.
Wow, well done.
Yep.
He's still alive, just for the record, but he hasn't acted since 2005. His final film was Elizabethtown. What a way to go out. That's
He played Oliver Hardy in a Laurel and Hardy remake where our old buddy who's the Belky? What's the fucking guy's name?
Bronson Pinchot.
Bronson Pinchot played Gustav
Pinchies.
Laurel to Gaylord Sartain's Oliver Hardy. So yeah, I like Gaylord Sartain.
no shit. Well, that's fun. That's enough of Gaylord Sartain.
Yeah,
But
more than
Buddy
enough.
Holly
Gaylord.
stories. Also, Charles Martin Smith's in this movie. He does a great job as the bassist and his co-partner. He sings the songs too, and he plays a stand-up bass, which is cool. I love when Charles Martin Smith hangs out. He's so short, and he gets confused for Bob Balaban once in a while,
He
but
does.
he's not Bob Balaban. So they're short guys. That's all who may lose their hair, and they do lose their hair. Spoiler alert. Is it a spoiler alert if they've already lost their hair? I don't know how that works. At any rate, I do know that I love that movie. Other movies I watched were Saving Silverman. Remember this comedy from 2001? Oh, does that piss you off? Is that
Saving
bad?
Silverman?
Nice movie to watch. Is that like it's very much a Neil Diamond feature? Is that
It's very heavy in Neil Diamond, but
Neil Diamond heavy.
that movie was huge back then. There was all these people who watched. I feel like everybody had a copy of that stupid movie. It was at every house I went to for a period of time there. Saving Silverman was just in that 20s, early 20-something. Everybody had it.
Now it's collecting dust right next to Orange County.
I feel like everyone got it because they bought it for $4.99 a used copy at Blockbuster.
That's fair too. I'll give you that. I thought the movie was dumb as hell back in the day, but it's got Arlie Ermy. God, what's wrong with me today? It's got our pal Ermy in it. He's
Army.
funny. Yeah.
Army.
Army. Arlie Army's funny in it.
Army.
Yeah.
And it's young Jack Black, like, right after High Fidelity. He's still baby-faced in it, but it's not bad. If you want to have a laugh and fuck around, Saving Silverman, it's a good time. Doodle
Is it
pal.
worse or better than Strange Wilderness?
Oh, it's a toss-up.
Can't answer that one. Not too hard.
I think. I mean,
a
nothing
mother can't
compares
tell
to-
which baby she loves the most.
That's right. Yep. Michael's choice.
Michael's choice between Saving Silverman
Which DVD are you going to throw off a cliff?
and up a creek. Don't forget Up a Creek.
Yeah, without a paddle.
Oh, without a paddle. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
without a paddle.
paddle.
Same, nobody cares.
Up a creek.
same fucking
Up a
movie.
creek.
Holy shit
Out on a Limb with
balls.
Matthew Broderick. Is that what we're talking? I don't know.
Matthew Broderick is in War Games. That was all right. So
Yeah, he was also
Addicted
in
to Love?
Project X.
Ooh, Project X.
Just
Let's
name
go through the whole
Broderick
catalog.
movies. We did Election, people. You could check
Absolutely,
out
man.
our episode on Election if you want to. enough.
We definitely did that. I watched some retreads that I'm not proud of because they were just kind of there and that's all I had at the time. I feel bad about that because I want to watch new stuff. But
What'd you watch?
I just watched some retreads like Flight and because I just watched that recently. And I watched Catch Me If You Can. That's why I got all the drops. I threw it on.
Makes sense.
I love it. And I did watch a movie that I'd never seen. And I'm going to tell you, this was something I was trying to watch for a long time. I finally got it. The Last Movie Star, Burt Reynolds, his final performance before he kicked the bucket. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I talked it on the show sometime last year. It's been a while.
Oh,
but
shit.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, me too. Clark Duke's in it. And, Chevy Chase he's kind of in it. He's not in it that much. But it was a really well done film about it's so meta. It's like so fucking meta about Burt Reynolds himself. They don't call him Burt Reynolds technically, but it's basically about like his life and the mistakes he made and being a famous guy and how great it was, but then how he treated people shitty and it didn't end up so well. And there he is in his very old age, on the brink of death, frankly. He's decrepit, and Burt Reynolds was a football star and he was a man's man back in the day. And it's really kind of touching. I got kind of choked up at the end. I really did. I didn't see it happening, but they got me at the end, and I'll give it to them. So I want to recommend The Last Movie Star.
Yeah, I'm going to double that recommendation. I watched that and Lucky with Harry Dean Stanton, which was his last feature. Like I watched them within like a week of each other. I recommend both those movies. They just as far as like when a great actor knows that they're making their last movie, I mean that's a rare thing. Yeah. And I would say Lucky and The Last Movie Star both. If you're into that idea, check them out.
That is a really great point about it. Yes, the final, like it's so on top of itself and intricate and introspective while trying to make a point, but also they try to bring levity. There's a lot of laughs and jokes that try to go through it as well. It's got a little bit of everything. So I'm glad I watched that movie, and I feel like I'm a better person for it. I'm not better than you or anyone else. I just
you might be.
Maybe I won't say, but I'm a little richer. I'm a little richer for the experience. I do know that for damn sure. So that's pretty much it. I did watch The Incredible Burt Wonderstone. That was fucking dumb.
Oh, so Jesus! I wanted to like that so much.
Really?
So much. I watched it a second time to make sure, and no, it's really not good.
Look at the cast. I mean, Jim Carrey, Steve Carell,
Jimmy Gandolfini,
Steve Buscemi. What the fuck?
I've been doing my Gandolfini rounds. I'm gonna have to go watch that shit again.
No, don't. It's horrible.
Yeah, you gotta watch the drop.
I'd rather watch The Last Castle again than that.
I kind of like I grew up enjoying The Last Castle. Is that
it's not good.
Maybe we'll bring it to the table. I don't know. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, everything else is just retread bullshit that nobody cares about. We've been over this before, but I want to make sure I close the door on all that. I will tell you one more thing. I did watch Killing Them Softly again.
What? Wow. Wait, did you say it doesn't hold up?
No, that was
I keep watching this movie. I can't stop watching it. I seem to watch it every week.
Was it Mike? Wait,
you said Mike. You said it doesn't hold up. You just
I know that's why.
Again.
I know that's why I'm bringing this up. It's like got inside of me, and I just I want to put it on. It flies by so quickly.
Fuck you, pay me.
Yes, it's such a great ending. It's almost worth the whole movie. So I did say that in the show, but Killing Them Softly. I don't know. It's in my bones.
Are you ready to repeal your vote that it doesn't hold up?
If that's something to be considered on the table, I am definitely considering that. I certainly would. I'd be
There's no rules here.
Doing that. So there you go. Movies are fun. I stopped watching TV shows. I've also lived my life out there having a good time. And we hope you are too. At Cinema 9 Podcast, we're your pals. We're your friends. We're not forcing ourselves upon you, but we very much want to be a part of your experience. We're hoping that maybe you'll find some time for us here and there. Because if you're hearing these words right now, you're already giving us your time. And you know what? That's pretty cool. Thanks, guys.
We appreciate that. That's true.
Here's some cheesy applause. All right. Don't forget 79pod at protonmail.com. We haven't had an email recently, and we don't like them, but we will read them. We always promise you that. And you could give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast. Anybody checked out the reviews lately? Are we doing well?
We did get a new review from fuck me, I forgot the person's name. It was like Iggy
Fuck
Stomach.
Me, I forgot the person's name. That's an awesome title.
I think it's like Itchy Stomach or something. What? But thank you, Itchy Stomach or whatever.
Itchy Stomach, thank you.
I know it started with an I. I can't remember.
that was starts with an I. Maybe Itchy Stomach?
I could quickly try and look it up. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. Anyways, we got a new review, and it was very kind of this individual to take the time out of their life to write a review.
Busy stomach itching schedule.
They say nice things. They sound like a busy person. They said that they're on the road like 3 hours a day. And
applying calamine lotion.
That they listen to us, and it made it helpful. Icky thumping. Thank you,
Icky thumping.
Icky thumping. I hope your stomach and your thumping
Tub
are
thumping.
both not itchy. And we do appreciate you taking the time to send us a shout out.
Thank you. That's so sweet. We did get 2 emails. We got one from Derek Furness said, thought about posting this on social media, but then I remembered that you guys hate emails. This montage of Wilhelm screams is great. Love, Derek. So it's a montage of Wilhelm screams from last week's show where Aaron forced us to break down Wilhelm screams.
Forced.
This is fresh though. I don't know if you guys know this person, but we'll find out. Hi guys. A while back, I stumbled across a movie I had never heard of. I was completely blown away, and ever since, I've been desperately trying to convince everyone across movie fandom to give it a shot and hopefully drag it out of complete obscurity. The movie's called The Beast of War, a.k.a. The Beast from 1988, directed by Kevin Costner's buddy, Kevin Reynolds.
Yep.
You know it, Mike?
Kevin Reynolds, man.
I don't know it.
I don't know the movie.
I like Kevin Reynolds' work, but I've never heard of this film.
Yeah, neither have I. I know Kevin Reynolds was the false director on Prince of Thieves, right?
Well, it stars George Zunza, which you don't get.
Yeah, I like George Zunza. Yeah, Butcher's Wife, Deer Hunter.
George Zunda, Jason Patrick, and Stephen Bauer are the stars, and it was only released in 2 screens across the whole United States. Columbia Pictures, and I kid you not when I say this is the best Hollywood film you've never heard of. Wow. Quentin Tarantino's old writing partner, Roger Avery, has it down as the best movie of 1988. And he also has it down as one of his 20 desert island films, with Apocalypse Now being the other war film. The film has a rating of 7.3 on IMDb, 3.5 on Letterboxd, but not a single critic's review on Rotten Tomatoes. But it does have an audience score of 85%. I'm starting to get more and more podcasts to check it out and review it, while Letterboxd reviews seem to be on the increase now. I think it would be great if companies like Criterion or Shout Factory, etc., could get their hands on it and give it the exposure it clearly needs. Please seek this film out. It's available on DVD and streaming, so it won't be difficult to track down. And if you do see it, let me know if you agree with me that this might be one of the 10 best American movies of the 1980s. Wow. So one way or another, we need to find a way to raise this movie's profile and prevent it from continual obscurity once and for all. All the best, Nick Paticchio, 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 Paticchio.
Just keep going. Don't stop.
Thanks, Nick. That was a
Paticchio. Keep going. No, but yeah. Thank you, Nick. That's I've never heard of this film. I'm totally going to check it out.
Me too.
Interesting that even with nothing behind it, someone has that enthusiastic of endorsement, and they're going to take the time to reach out to us. That's worth checking out.
Yeah, that was
you can stream it on Prime Video, according to Just Watch.
Okay, well, maybe I'll watch that tonight. Thank you, Nick. That was an incredibly well thought out email. And even though we don't like emails, that one kind of touched me. So thanks, Nick. We appreciate that. The Beast, 1988. But speaking of Beast, we've got to get focused on.
We got to get rid of that. What?
1994's Wolf, directed by Mike Nichols, a personal favorite of mine, and starring Jack Nicholson, Michelle Pfeiffer, James Spader, Christopher Plummer, and boy, this is a movie that's got a lot of names in it, and it's a weird movie because it takes itself seriously, but it's. Are we calling this a scary movie, a horror film, or a thriller? What are we calling this, Trevor?
I mean, I personally would call it a drama. A fantasy drama, maybe a horror drama, maybe because of werewolves. But I mean, it's a folk. I mean, it's more folkloric than horror.
Huh. Yeah, well, it's kind of a supernatural dramedy.
Yes.
Supposedly, this was Jack Nicholson's final scary movie. Like The Shining or other scary. Some people say Witches of Eastwick is like a scary movie. Yeah. Who cares about that, though? Take us back in time. Travis, you picked this movie. I assume that you saw this on VHS, though. You did not see this in the theater.
I very well could have seen this in theaters. I honestly don't remember. I know that I told my mom yesterday or the day before when I spoke to her that we were doing this movie, and she was like, "Oh, I love Wolf," because it was one. It was a family favorite. Like I loved it. My mom loved it. My sister loved it, I believe. So I actually think I did. I think she took me to see it in theaters. She took me to see some pretty fucking awesome movies in theaters. So I believe this was one of them. But even if it wasn't, like you, Eric, I mean, we had that same box copy in the house pretty soon after, and that was it was a regular contender. It was one that was regularly in the mix, and then it's one that I've kind of held in high regard and have talked about, and that's kind of why it's a good. I mean, like on one hand, like I kind of figured I still like this movie. But on the other, it's a good choice for the show because it's one that I just kind of had taken it for granted that it was still good. But in the back of my mind, I was still like, I know that there's some cheesy kind of elements, so maybe some kind of early '90s elements that might not hold up so well today. So I was excited to take another new look at it.
Yeah, you said it, my friend. What about you, Eric? You see that? You definitely didn't see this in the theater because you weren't allowed.
July 15, 1994. It's one of the very few movies I know the exact day, and I know what I did the day that I saw it. Like I mentioned on a previous podcast, it's the day I got my Super Nintendo and Super Castlevania 4. I was playing it all day, and then my dad came into my room, and he did something he very rarely ever did. He said, "Get in the car. We're going to the movie theater right now."
Because he wanted to see it.
Because he wanted to see it. This has only happened on a few occasions. Cliffhanger, In the Line of Fire, and Wolf. So we went, and I watched it in theaters, and I only had to cover my eyes a few times because of my 13-year-old age. But this was in heavy rotation. I'm surprised this thing still works. I would watch it weekly.
Wow.
What's it rated?
R.
Oh yeah, it's rated R.
Okay, I figured, but there's not a lot of profanity in it, and.
That's true. It's a classy movie.
There's some violence, of course, but
yeah,
more than
it's a classy movie with taste. I saw this movie on HBO. I remember seeing it on HBO in my living room in 1995 for sure, and I was like, "Oh, I remember this movie came out. I didn't see it, but I watched it on HBO like 15 times because it was on all month long. You know how it is. HBO, they shove a movie down your throat. It's on like 5 times a day. So." Right. That's where I saw it, and I definitely watched this movie several times, and I thought it was cool, and I was like, oh, Jack Nicholson and wolves, and at the time, at that age, I had this friend, Lisa Pappas. I don't know what happened to Lisa. Lisa, if you're alive today, I hope you're doing great, and I hope everything is, going your way. But she always said at the time, she used to call me James Spader. She's like, you're my little Spader. Yeah. She was like a senior, and I was a freshman, and we were in drama together.
My little Spader.
Yeah, she called me her little James Spader all the time, and I didn't see it at all. But
I would call you that too. I always used to call you that.
You did? You used to call him your little James Spader?
I used to call him Spader. He looked just like
my little James Spader.
It didn't catch on as much in our circle of friends, but yeah, Eric, I do remember you saying that to me. But Lisa used to. I don't know what happened to Lisa. She was fun, but I was like, oh, James Spader. Okay, cool. So I was into this movie because of that as well. But first and foremost, because it was a fascinating film. So. Hey, cool. Good job, Wolf. 1994. Good time to be alive. What's this one rated? Did you guys look it up?
I was really, really good about not looking it up. And then just now I tried to look up what it was rated, what it was actually rated.
Yeah.
And of course, it just came up immediately. So I just saw it.
I'm going to say this one is well respected because it's got a lot of heavy hitters again, similar to what we just did a couple weeks ago. What movie was it? American Gangster. I was thinking a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of names. But not as, I'm going to say it's like a 7-3.
Eric, you saw it?
Yeah, I saw it.
It's 6.3.
Oh shit! Really?
Unbelievable.
6.3.
Yep.
Well,
6.3.
There might be a reason that like there's not a hot new werewolf movie every year. I mean, I love them, but I don't know that everybody else does.
They're usually like low budget horror affairs that aren't as big as this.
Since Wolf. What other major Hollywood werewolf movies have there been? There was the werewolf, like the Wolfman remake with Benicio del Toro, and I guess the Twilight films had some werewolfery. Like off the top of my head, I can't think of. I mean, there's the Teen Wolf TV show did pretty well.
Oh yeah,
which I've not seen, but it exists. Other than that, not a lot of like big cultural like money makers.
That is very true. I mean, I'm not the expert on this arena, but I can't think of something that comes to mind like, boom, oh, dude, there was a huge wolf movie that blah, 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 blah. You're right. So, As far as Rotten Tomatoes, though, they have opinions. You get the critic's opinion, and then you get the audience opinion. They meld it together, but they also separate it so you have an idea of how the high society types think and how the regular Joes and Janes feel who go to see the movie every week. It's fascinating. It's called RottenTomatoes.com. And I'm vamping here because it won't load, and I'm just waiting for this page to load again and again.
Let us vamp. I mean, we can come up with bullshit.
But it gets a 62% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which I guess is pretty close to a 6.3. That's pretty
right?
similar.
That's like spot on. But the audience score is 42. That's a huge disparity.
Oh, wow. That is, if anything, I would have thought maybe the audience score would have been a tick higher, but dang.
That's 25,000 plus ratings on this, so it's not like something that's been totally ignored. That's curious. That's a dumped over bucket of popcorn for those of you scoring at home, unfortunately.
Well, does anyone remember the trailer? I remember loving the trailer when it was in cinemas because the teaser, like the 45 to 1 minute long teaser, it wasn't any clip from the movie. It was just Michelle Pfeiffer in like a negligee and then like this really cool atmospheric shot of Nicholson like hovering over her. And it made it really look like this romantic monster movie, which it completely is not. I think audiences were just like, what the fuck happened? Like, this is not what I expected.
Yeah, I've seen that. Like, it must have been from a film shoot, like, because I've seen like the still photos from that, like promotional shots. So they must have recorded some of it too. And then people like, but I mean, I don't know. It looked like a fucking Chris Isaacs video. I mean,
No.
Maybe he is howling in that video.
That could be the case. Jack howls in this movie. Like, he does it once.
So dumb.
He really fucking goes for it. Like, full commitment to the role, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but do you laugh or are you like? It's kind of. That's the thing about this movie. Like, it's both dumb and cool at the same time. It's such a weird mix.
I think that's what I love about werewolves. I mean, if I'm honest with myself,
there it is, right there. Let's see what the critics agree with that. Chris Stuckman of ChrisStuckman.com.
Oh yeah, I love Stuckman.
Do you really?
Stuckman. Yeah, I watch this shit all the time.
Oh, okay. Wow, I didn't know.
He's a YouTuber.
Okay. It's an extremely mature werewolf movie. The film is actually kind of funny. That's his comment.
Hilarious. It's almost geriatric mature. I mean, it's mature.
Yeah.
Is it that funny though?
I think there's a few jokes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the tone of
I wouldn't call it dramedy. Eric, you earlier said dramedy. I'm like, no.
There's a lot. There's a lot of funny lines in it, man.
I mean, so there's funny lines in August Osage County, man. I mean, there's always a little bit of everything. It doesn't make everything a dramedy. By the way. So. Yeah, it's fantastic, but it's not a fucking dramedy.
Osage County.
Yes, that is a great point, Travis. Well said. Peter Travers, classic Rolling Stone critic back in the day, said, Nichols has crafted a rapturous romantic thriller with a darkly comic subtext, again, about what kills human values. Comic subtext. So there's several comedic points here by a lot of these critics. Roger Ebert says, an effective attempt to place a werewolf story in an incongruous setting with the closely observed details of that setting used to make the story seem more believable.
Yes, that's a very much like we're having fun. Aren't we having fun kind of review? Like just stating the obvious here. It was shot on film.
Recently followed by us and his band, Desson Thompson. His band's following us on Instagram, which is breaking news. I know Travis is very excited about that.
I'm so excited. Who are you kidding? We all love Desson Thompson.
Are you kidding me? I would kill for Desson. I would martyr myself for Desson Thompson. Absolutely.
To wear the flesh, to allow the flesh to open new portals.
To wear the Desson.
Kill your own kind.
Kill your own kind.
Kill your own. Well,
we all gotta do it.
Desson Thompson commented on this movie, and that's always a rare treat. So he said,
good.
Nichols has allowed Wolf to evolve from a well-mounted supernatural drama to goofy camp, and he's splatting it. He says this movie sucks.
Oh,
well, even the great ones wrong. I mean, I don't know that's wrong. We'll get into that. But
he wrote I'll post this here in the live chat. He has the full review in 1994, June 17th, 1994. Desson Howe back then. Desson Howe.
Yeah, Desson Howe.
Wrote in detail about this movie, saying the first half of the movie is exhilarating, scary, and believable. So.
There might be some third act issues. I'm not gonna necessarily deny, but I would also, I mean, like it surprised me that it's 6.3 on IMDb, but not that much. This movie's like I think this is you're gonna like this movie, or you're gonna think it's kind of silly.
There's no, so it's one of those no in between things. Then you're saying
there's always in between. I'm not an absolutist, but
I know you're not. But with this movie in particular, you're saying this is kind of the deal here.
I'm going to look at the ratings real quick, and I bet I wouldn't be surprised if they're kind of like split.
This movie can be a total bozo fest. It starts off with a dead serious, snowy mountainous drive, and he hits the wolf, and the wolf bites him suddenly out of rage, and then it's so serious. And you go back to a publishing house, continuing to be serious. I'm not saying the comedy here. I mean, I don't see the comic element at all unless you look at it that way.
I'm confused. Like every time, like one of his senses get acute, like something like funny happens or a joke is made. When he gets hair, he makes a crack about the hair club for men. When he
we know there's no coffee, it's all tequila. Is that a joke?
Smelling, that joke.
Ron Rifkin comes in as pure as his doctor.
Brain damage humor.
Well, I mean, he calls him a moron. Like, no, you moron. He's got brain damage. And like
he does call him a moron.
Rifkin's delivery is fucking. I mean, like he's really like he's good at comedy because he's definitely one of those like straightforward kind of actors.
Yeah.
I had a laugh there. The moron got me, but
and Jenkins' reaction shots are actually like kind of goofy and like intentionally kind of funny. A lot of Richard Jenkins responses to
urinated.
Yeah,
but I don't think
thinking about David Schwimmer. He took my cuffs, or he got my
David Schwimmer.
Well, there is a fair amount of. I mean, I don't know that I would necessarily call it a comedy, but as I'm going through it and thinking about it, there's a lot more comedy than maybe.
The tone of it is so serious, though. I mean, when he sits down with the older doctor, the wise man, talking about the wolves and the experience of demonic possession. Is this real? Is this really going to happen to me? I don't understand the comedic element unless you decide to look at this. I think it's funny because some of it looks like total shit to me. Like when he's chasing the deer, it looks stupid as fuck. It's clearly not Jack Nicholson in several of those cuts. It's like too blatant.
In slow-mo, you really don't want. But you know what? I noticed one of my earlier notes is like this movie blows its slow-mo like load like less than 3 minutes in. Like it's just like 3 minutes in the movie, like you've already done enough.
And we just watched Brotherhood of the Wolf last week, so that's saying something.
And this movie has excessive slow motion, and it doesn't work a single time.
So does that bother you? Does that take you guys out of the movie though? When you see, that's clearly not Jack Nicholson, that's the stunt man.
It perplexes me because two things. If it's not in slow-mo, you don't have enough time to sit there and be like, what the fuck? That's not Nicholson. And two, if it's not shot like in broad daylight, you wouldn't be able to see that it's not clearly Jack Nicholson. So it's just these odd choices.
Oh, you say it's overlit as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do think that there's moments in the film, in particular the fight towards the end, where like there's some clever editing where they're not showing us too much.
Yeah.
And like and that kind of stuff. But yeah, like at the same time, there's other shots like this that are clearly like, why are you letting us see that like there's another person in his shirt right now jumping around? Why are you letting us see that he's clearly biting the throat of a stuffed animal? Like that's cringy.
Yep.
No blood on him until he wakes up in the morning. Like there should have been blood everywhere. If you bite into an animal, what do you think happens?
He tears his throat out and nothing happens.
That bothered me to hell. It really bothered me.
I know.
Problematic.
But that's funny. See, that's what I'm saying. This movie is unintentionally funny. I don't think it's intentionally funny. I really don't.
Yeah, that was not supposed to be funny.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like all the biting office politics and stuff. Maybe I find it more amusing than laugh out loud funny. It plays like a comedy, like how Nichols stuff usually does, like Working Girl and Carnal Knowledge. It's so breezy that it almost seems like light fare.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but Elaine May, his regular co-collaborator, she apparently did like a ghostwrite of this as well, and I imagine a lot of the kind of like funny, kind of quippy stuff was her.
But isn't this? I'll give this movie credit for this. So this movie is about a guy who is dead inside in a sense. Like he's just kind of been numbed by life in some way. And we don't exactly know why that is, frankly. maybe he's indifferent, or maybe he slowly
I know,
became
no, he
indifferent.
tells us why. It's the gay senior citizens. He's got a real problem with gay senior
yes.
citizens.
Oh,
Don't
I was
forget,
waiting for that one.
the world has already ended. There's art is dead, and there's gay elderly people.
Pop culture
Just
is the
fucking
only
pull
art
plug
left.
and let it go down the drain.
Yeah, Sally Jessy Raphael and Oprah on the afternoon TV.
Molested by dentists. Yeah, I just
that
did not play well for me.
Oof.
Well,
But that's what this movie's about? This guy, he gets bit by the wolf and he becomes alive. So they're trying to tell you a story about. Yeah. I think they're trying to send a message here. Clearly, we're trying to instill in a lot of us that we don't realize our animal instincts are something that maybe we need. They're trying to walk a line here, like, hey, being aggressive and assertive and having some animal instincts that are more primordial in a sense are cool and they can be useful to you, but there's a fine line, because James Spader, when he gets bitten, he takes it to a whole new level. And it also will give the movie credit for this. It doesn't just say you're a wolf, you're going to be a bad person or turn into a bad wolf. I did like that part, that explanation when him and the doctor sit down, and how it's like it's like money. If you're an asshole before you got rich, you're going to be an asshole still.
Yeah. One of the things I really like too is like he the Ampuri's character, he was talking about like you don't like there's no oh shit, I kind of lost my thread there. Just to pick it up without me. I gotta remember where I was going with this.
You're talking about the wolf. Binding the wolf doesn't turn you into being an automatic bad wolf. You are a
wolf. Thank you. So the phrase demon wolf, that's what
demon wolf.
Yeah. So like he's not into the whole idea, like he's saying, like, I'm not into like heaven and hell. We're not talking demons like creatures from hell wolf. We're talking like Daemon, like the kind of demonic that like Socrates was talking about, like this very old kind of demonic, like fairies or like spirits of the wilderness or something, you know. And it's so there's nothing to do with evil here. And I thought that was pretty cool, because you very seldom look at that kind of thing in the film.
Agreed. Yeah, that's why it's advanced.
This thing does a lot of things that, unless you really step back and think about it, that a lot of other werewolf movies don't do in terms of the creature. I mean, name other werewolf movies where the werewolf can actively like hold conversations after his transformation, as he does like in Central Park. I mean, it's different.
Well, it's cool, but I do have an issue or a question with that. Like, do they remember because like you get the feeling through the whole movie that like when Jack Nicholson is walking around at night in like kind of werewolf mode, that he has no memory of it the next day. It's actually made really clear. But then you have James Spader's character, who's like very much like calculating in his, like, you know, doing things. Maybe I mean, I guess maybe they're like he's doing.
Yeah, the timeline gets weird,
and to help his life, and he doesn't remember it later. I don't know, but like
James
Spader's like werewolf seems very much more focused and like has a plan and is like trying to set up Will Randall and all this stuff. It seems like he remembers a lot more. I don't know.
I agree. The rules on this are weird. I don't watch werewolf movies on the reg, so I guess I don't know the basic rules of werewolf life. Scott Howard was the best werewolf ever, according to Matt Wilson. Right. So I don't even know who that is, but great, cool.
Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf, man.
Oh, that was the character's name.
The keg of beer, you know.
But with the rules here, is he turning into a wolf every night, or is it every couple of nights here? Because it's not a full moon thing. It's like the sun goes down. He goes.
Remember, the guy says he only knows like a few of the rules, and one of them is like you get bit and you turn into a werewolf by the next full moon. So if you get bit like the night before a full moon, I guess you're turning full wolf. Like,
but I thought it was impermanence too. That's what I didn't get. Like, he'll be a wolf forever. He's never going to be just a human during the day. Isn't that what happened? Are we supposed to assume that at the end when?
That's what happened.
And by the way,
when they show the Beanie Baby that howls at the moon at the very end.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a bookending thing in this movie where they show us a really fake wolf at the beginning of the movie and a really fake wolf at the end of the movie.
Even faker looking.
It looks like Gamort from the Never-Ending Story. It's the same fucking wolf. They just brought it over from the.
It's been 10 years and it looks the exact fucking same. And it's just like there's no reason for it. Like it doesn't look like Jack Nicholson. You could have like there was no reason for it. You could have used real wolves in both those shots, and it would have drastically
You got Rick Baker here. Yeah.
And I think that was the problem. I think they were like, let's put Rick to work. Let's make him earn his paycheck. Build us an entire menagerie. And but like, and the work that he does is fantastic. But like, other than these really jarring visual moments where you're looking at these fucking fake wolves and the fake
yeah, why did this undertooth that you see behind me, I mean, it looks like a pig. It looks like Val Kilmer when the humans turn into pigs in Willow. It's the same fucking teeth. This is a lot of retread physical. Yeah, it's kind of bogus in that way. But
this is what Dean Stockwell does all through Werewolf of Washington. It's just the whole time. It just looks like somebody who's clenching up and having a rough time.
Clenching up. A wolf is someone who's constipated, essentially.
A lot of underbite going on. A lot of puggishness.
Oh man.
Well, we're talking about fucking Wolf, 1994. Does it hold up or not? Jack Nicholson. I mean, Jack Nicholson does what he does in this movie. He's very solid. He brings seriousness to this movie, right?
I mean, it's peak Jack. I mean, it's you like him like sitting there smirking while Stewart's trying to like charm him for the last time, and it's just not working. And finally, he just kind of like looks at him, and is like, "I'm gonna get you." And he gives him, look at the man dead in the eye, like gives him a little smile. There's just so many moments like that through the movie where you just get to see Jack like be the Jack Nicholson you want him to be in like every movie, but you do get like. Will Reynolds is also like a different character for him. He's weak. He begs early in the movie, and like he's kind of emasculated in a lot of ways. So it's both, and it's a fucking werewolf. So in a lot of ways, it's a different role for Jack Nicholson, but it's also like the Jack Nicholson you very much want to watch.
I think they thought Spader and Nicholson head to head here was like a passing of the torch in the sense. I really feel a lot of probably Spader himself felt like this is my chance now because he was coming into his prime, and Nicholson was getting a little bit older, and. Spader he's a good actor. He's solid, but he's not Jack Nicholson. He never will be. And
I mean, he's had a good run.
He doesn't have to be great in this film, but I think he's actually done a disservice with his role. The dialogue, and I don't know if it's a dialogue or it was written in the script how he was supposed to respond to a lot of the dialogue before he becomes a wolf. But Spader's character, Stewart, is just like, what do you want me to say? Well, tell me what to do. I'll resign. Like, it's just, it's not like, yeah, I know he's duplicitous, but like, he'd be a lot more aggressive in his tone and the way he spoke. I just feel like it was weird the way they had him respond to a lot of the discussions he has with Will in these moments. And he only finally unleashes after he pisses on his shoe, and it gets to a point where he's like, I can finally reveal my duplicitous nature. He already knows you're duplicitous. Why not have it more obvious?
So both these men murder people once they become werewolves, right? Like Jack Nicholson goes somewhere where he can kill. I mean, some of the only
he cut off a hand. I don't know. Did he kill those guys?
Maybe, but it's kind of implied there's some serious violence going on here. But he goes somewhere like where he could find humans that like he thinks it'll be okay to kill them, basically, because they're criminals. But like
it's a little stereotypical there, by the way. But whatever.
Oh yeah, big time. And then we have Stewart, who like kills a woman to like advance his business, to advance his like station at work. So I think that like this is what we're getting, like when it says like it just brings like the wolf doesn't make you good or evil, it just brings out who you really are. And so
they do a good job of that.
I agree. So Stewart, I think, was not like before he was bitten, he was not that he was cutthroat, but not like in a overt way. Like he was like
it's almost a coward in a way.
Yeah, like he's sniveling and like cringing and like, and again, like he's Will's protege. So like in some ways that makes perfect sense. Because they're both kind of like effete, kind of like, not, just kind of not the most masculine dudes. And so I think it makes perfect sense in a lot of ways.
You sold me. That was a well done response and retort. I'll give you 3 out of 4 stars.
All right.
I mean, I've always loved James Spader in this, and it wasn't until last night till I'm kind of scratching my head. Like, what is it like? Towards the end, now we can talk about the third act issues, and I do want to talk more positively about the other things that I do genuinely enjoy about this movie, but I don't understand this arc. Like Stewart goes into the cop station but he tells the cops that Will is completely innocent and to not go arrest him. Like,
I'm lost.
So is he not trying to ruin Will's life?
I didn't even hear what they're saying. I'm just like, all right, there's going to be a confrontation. That's all I know that's going to happen here. But what they were actually saying,
what does Stewart want to have happen besides eventually physically assault Laura? Like,
even if Travis explains it to us, it won't be clear. It wasn't clear to me then when I watched it. It just wasn't clear.
I think that's part of the problem, really, that what's happening there doesn't necessarily make sense. They just needed to get a way to get Stewart and what's Michelle Pfeiffer's character's name?
Laura.
They need to get these two. They need to get these two characters together without Will Randall around, and how they couldn't figure. I mean, so I think that's the only reason it happened. And you do get a moment like where Spader's like scratching himself like a dog, and that's kind of cool. Like you get like he does really good work in this scene. Although like it's super creepy when he like asks her for a drink and then just like doesn't he straight up like sniff her nether regions and then before walking away? It's crass. But
he's an animal.
He's an animal. He's an animal, but like he's
all right, I'll be.
That's what he was thinking to himself.
I mean,
1994.
I think you could, if he would have met Laura much earlier in the picture, Stuart, you could have had this weird like competitive male/animal aggression thing going on to compete with Laura.
I'm glad they didn't do that because they're already doing that with the wife.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
But this comment here, Matt said it was cheesy at best. I don't even care what he was talking about. From the moment the movie starts at if he gets bit, it's cheesy when he goes to the party and all the horses are scared. It's so obvious, man. It bothers me. It's okay. Well, the horses are scared of Jack. We already saw him get bit. We know there's something going on with him. It's not a secret.
Wolf. It's not a secret, right? But it's a secret to him at that point. He doesn't understand what's happening to him. It's not like he's like, well, I was bit by a wolf, so clearly I'm a fucking werewolf now. No, he's not thinking.
What's the point of Michelle Pfeiffer's character in this movie?
Being fucking outstanding at her job. I mean, she's so good in this role. I think
that's true. But what's the point of her character?
Oh well, I don't know. She's the
That's another thing, man. I'm telling you, like I'm worried that it's just that she like Will says that she's just this gorgeous woman, and that's the only reason I was ever interested in this character, even like when I was like 14, 15. She was just so drop dead gorgeous, but she's icy, she's rude, just like all of these things that he says, and she doesn't really change for any reason other than like, I guess I'm gonna help this guy because he passed out on my front yard.
Well,
like,
when she sees the argument with the wife in the hotel, I think that changes her a lot. She's like, well, because she doesn't know she's there, and he's being himself, and he's hurt, and she sees an authentic nature in him.
You're right,
but she's on board much longer before that. She doesn't. Right. She's not taking him to a hospital. She's like,
she's fascinated right from the start, from the moment they meet, because she's cleaning him off, and he's all disheveled. She's taking care of him. He comes to her like all fucked up, like having a panic attack.
That's true.
And right from the get go, she's taking care of him, and so that's a connection. Like when you take care of somebody, that's like an instant bond. You feel a sense of responsibility towards that person, and then also it's like a fascinating thing to her because she is icy and cold. But like she asked him almost immediately based on a couple of statements that he makes, like, what are you, like the last honest man? And he's like, don't worry, you're safe with me because I'm married. She's like, she thinks he's joking, but then realizes she's dead fucking serious. And by like a turn of events, this guy who actually who she's like, okay, like interesting. And that's probably why she's surly to him at first when she sees him the second time. She's not an option. He's married and he's devoted. But pretty quickly, like she figures out that like that is an option. And their intimacy is just really natural and instantaneous.
That's actually a problem, though, Travis, for me, is Nicholson's real-life persona kind of bleeds into this film in a negative way because he's known as such a womanizer and a ladies' man that him playing this character made it a little more difficult for me to buy into that. And I'm not blaming him, per se. You live your life, do your life as you please, be a single man, do it up. But it did. His actual existence kind of impacted me and made it more challenging. I'm like, God, I just don't believe. I'm not saying he's a bad guy at all. That's not the point, but just the fact that he's supposed to be this really kind of humble, true to life dude who would never cheat on his wife.
I do think they could have driven that home early on, just make him a little more kind of a milquetoast or this meek personality. I think he's a bit strong right from the get-go. That scene at the party shows you right away, like, this doesn't seem like the type of guy who would jump in and start spouting all of this shit off. If he's supposed to be this meek guy that you have to enjoy watching become stronger and stronger. But you look at him in a role like About Schmidt, and he can absolutely play sweet devotion, just regular guy.
No, he can do it. It was just the way they set it up and the way it came about and the period of the time, I guess. It's just for me personally. It's not a big deal.
No,
but,
I agree.
Michelle Pfeiffer deserves more credit because she was great in this movie, and she's not a typical trope. She's like, fuck you, I'm not here to serve anybody. And that was actually well done because based on what we read here, too, it looks like it was going to be just another shitty bozo part where a female is the bridge between scenes to get them to a climax.
Well, I wonder if that has anything to do with the original screenwriter leaving Hollywood forever after this movie was made.
No
he
shit.
He was so upset about the process. Yeah.
Wow.
So he said of Mike Nichols, this is Jim Harrison, the writer, of course, Legends of the Fall, legendary, like, machismo,
That's Jim Harrison,
like,
right.
male power writer. But he said that Nichols turned his wolf into a chihuahua. Basically, that was the quote.
That's it right there. Is that, like, I think you just hit something on the head there. Like, Legends of the Fall is a balls out celebration of masculinity and just, like, even toxic masculinity, whereas this is in a very different. This is different. This is like
they both came out the same year too, by the way, which is weird.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
this is definitely exploring manhood, but in a very different way, in a very different setting, and not in a way that jives, I think, with Legends
Jimmy?
of the Fall. Yeah, well, certainly not with Mr. Harrison anyway.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer had played a lot of roles, and she mentioned it. I saw it in the Wikipedia trivia breakdown. She was sick of getting in all these outfits and corsets and Catwoman outfits. She just wanted to be a regular woman in the modern age, and good for her because I bet she fought for it. She pushed that, and also her star power at the time because she was very much on the rise and a big star. She was able to create this opportunity, and I think it shouldn't be understated. I think she deserves credit for that, and this movie deserves credit for that being part of its experience. I don't want to focus on it entirely, but
I agree, and I think that she's actually, for like a character that kind of is like, just like a failure of the Bechdel test, I think she's actually pretty fleshed out. You get this, she's like a grieving from her brother still.
Yeah.
She is raised in a rich family by a father who ignores her, and like
we haven't even mentioned Christopher Plummer, really.
We really need to get there. But she's like, she's had a druggy kind of history and a criminal kind of history.
Yeah, and they don't throw it in your face. They don't exposition it. You're right.
Exactly. It's not all shoved in your face. So her icing this towards people, I think, makes a ton of sense because she's fucking jaded as shit. She doesn't want anything to do with anybody. There's like she lives in that, and like, she bounces around. You get the feeling that she's like a rolling stone. So that she would open herself just to him because he's so like honest and needs her. I think it makes sense.
I think my biggest problem with the film this time around, and it's probably been at least 15 years, is I just don't like where the characters end up at the end of the film. Because on this most recent viewing, I really, really, really love Will Randall, like, as a character, even as he grows and matures in this new guise. And for him to just turn into this beanie baby wolf and wander into the woods, it kind of breaks my heart because finally he has this strength and he is the person he wants to be, and he just devolves into this animal. And I'm not sure he's happy to be in this new form.
Well,
it's sad.
Of course he's not. He fucking hates it.
He says he's cursed, but he also said, I mean, that's what he says, but Puri's character, whose name I keep forgetting.
They talk about why do good things only happen to, or bad things happen to good people.
Dr. Alizaeus.
Dr. Alizaeus. That is auspicious.
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 Right?
Very auspicious.
Oh, right. Dr. Alizaeus is a different Alizaeus.
Dr. Alizaeus is Puri. I think you're thinking of Dr. Zaius from Planet of the Apes.
That's where
he's Dr. VJ Alizaeus.
He started singing it. Yeah. Okay.
And Laura too. Like, where is Laura's relationship with her father? Where does this end? Like, what was solved? Like, where did this character go in terms of her arc with what was her biggest problem? Her place in this family.
Well, she has.
Well, Mick Jagger was supposed to be. They were going to cast Mick Jagger and make the character younger before they decided to make Christopher Plummer the father and make that a father-daughter relationship. So this really, to me, is just a guy who's plugged in. Christopher Plummer not needed in this picture, unfortunately, in my opinion. He's still an amazing actor.
He does great work.
Yeah, but like it's like this could have been anybody. They could have had fucking Moffat. They could have brought Moffat in to play this role, and it would have been just.
But you know what?
I mean?
Like he wouldn't have brought the. All right, so for two reasons, I'm going to say that like I don't think Donald Moffat could have pulled it off. No offense to Mr. Moffat.
Shit,
but for one, like again, like that gravitas that he has as like as a rich man, as like you get the sense this is a mover and shaker in the world. This is a Rupert Murdoch kind of character, and that setting, that fucking beautiful house, like someone, the owner of that house needs to match that house. It needs to be that whoever the person, the man that owns that house needs to be impressive. And Christopher Plummer is easily impressive. And also, while we're on him really quick, I fucking love the one real scene that he has with James Spader where they're like watching TV together, like
what the fuck is going on there?
And at night. but he starts Stewart starts angling for the senior editor job again, and you see Plummer have this look on his face of like almost admiration, and then it kind of like turns into disgust, like, oh yeah, you fucking repel me, I forgot. Like, but part of him is also impressed by him. It's all like he does, like, you're right, there's not a lot of need for this character, there's not a lot of great dialogue for this character, but he really does, his reaction shots and he does so much with what's given to him.
And that's another example of kind of that caustic humor that just it floats by. But if you stop and think about little snippets like that, it's like I'd laugh. I think it's funny.
Yeah, Richard Jenkins and David Hyde Pierce are in this movie too, just kind of on the side.
Yeah, Richard Jenkins. I think this was one of the earlier things that made me aware of him, and he's funny in it. He's good. David Hyde Pierce was I believe
same year.
Yeah, Fraser
started.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Same year it started. Okay, so he probably filmed this before he jumped on.
Yeah, he probably just went all in on this stuff at once, and
yeah.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we're here, bub.
Oh, I just heard a lady in my ear say low battery. But like, yeah, I mean, it could have been any rich asshole playing him. I like the dichotomy of the film. It's taking big themes for a wolf movie. I just wonder if it works in the end. That's what I'm starting to get at here is I love the concept of this man and animal, human beings and animals, and melding together. And we do have similar traits that we share: the good ones, the bad ones, the ones we try to avoid, the ones that we can't get rid of. Good people, bad things happen to great people, like her brother dying of overdose. Will seems to be a really sweet man, but he's cursed.
When she talks about that whole scene, like the way she like laughs at him for thinking that only evil people are cursed. She's so natural. She's so fucking good.
I
think what you're talking about, and I think what a lot of people's, especially the critics' problem with this film is, at a certain point, kind of the metaphor of, call it the devaluation of older people and how, this and that, how the metaphor just becomes literal, and it is literally two werewolves like biting each other's faces. Because I love all those parallels between, business and animalistic behavior and cutthroat office politics, but when you've got really the wolves, it's like, is this just kind of silly and dumb? Or
let's talk about the climax then, though, because I think we need to focus on that. I think that's where a lot of people lose this movie is that climax.
I think so too. But I think James Spader is scary as fuck. I think he's a better werewolf than Jack Nicholson, to be honest. I think
he does.
Really,
yes,
he's so scary driving that car. Even
but he doesn't look as cool.
I think he looks. What
cool. Is it?
He looks like Scott Weiland.
She's the fuck of the century, don't you think? Yeah, he sells that line really well.
But I mean, like, if you're watching a werewolf movie, don't you want some? I mean, like, I don't know. I can't think of a lot of werewolf movies that end with the climaxes between two werewolves. Usually, it's gonna be like between a werewolf and a cop or something like that. Like the werewolf is seldom the protagonist anyway. So like, it's gonna be like the hero versus the werewolf pretty often, or the werewolf the werewolf wants to die, right? Like that's a common one.
The way it's chopped up and the way it's shot and the stuntmen mixing in with them, I just think it's poorly done. I don't think this is Mike Nichols' forte. I really don't. I think that's part of this too.
I think I want to blame the editor because I mean,
Really?
like, I think the direction is solid. The cinematography is fucking really good. There's this one shot where like it goes from like the horse's stall, like this horse is freaking out in the stall, then like it zooms out from that, and you realize you're zoomed in from a whole different building, and it pans down to Jack Nicholson in bed. There's a whole bunch of shots like that where they're like, or this amazing shot in the fucking
The
Bradbury
elevators
building. Yes,
The rack focus. Yeah, the rack
elevators.
focus.
There's all kinds of stuff. So there is some really good stuff in here, cinematography wise. But I think it happened in the editing room because not only is it slow motion, it's post production slow motion. This is not ramping down the camera slow motion. This is like that kind of shitty, like we slowed this down in post stuff, and the editing all over the place. I mean, it could have been Nichols doing, likely he was involved in that, but I think that was a lot of the problems was that.
I think the script for me is probably the issue because you have these two like big writers, Jim Harrison, and then you got Wesley Strick, who is like straight popcorn arachnophobia, Batman Returns.
God.
Like taking this script and just rewriting it and just putting all of the cliched, silly Hollywood stuff into it. And I don't know if they meshed that well.
I mean, I think that this movie could have been handled better in a lot of ways, but at the same time, we have a serious werewolf movie starring Jack Nicholson. We live in the timeline where that's a thing.
I was thinking that while watching this, I was like, I can easily see this being like a BuzzFeed story. Like they were once seriously considering making a movie where Jack Nicholson would play a senior editor of a book company who becomes a werewolf at night. And I'd be like, oh, fuck, what? They were going to make that? They did.
You know, something that also occurred to me watching this movie that never occurred to me before is that werewolf movies are body horror. I never really thought about it that way, but when that hairy fucking wound, that gross hairy wound, he's like trimming the hair on his wound.
Well, dude, I was thinking of The Fly quite a few times because Brundlefly clips those gross wiry things off his hand too. But Brundlefly, the thing about it is Brundlefly eventually they both kind of get scared of what's happening to them, but I like how they both like enjoy the power of it at first.
Yeah. You know what? You just made a connection for me that should have been glaringly obvious because I hadn't thought about it until you said the Fly, but The Fly is very much an allegory about death and about disease. And that's probably also kind of what's happening. You could easily replace the werewolf thing with a brain tumor, which at one point they talk about it possibly being that. And this is very much a movie about, a man kind of like finding his balls at the end of his life, and which is literally what happens. Because I mean, he loses all of himself. Remember, it says like he once he becomes a wolf, he loses everything but his heart and his nature or something like that. So really, that is what's happening.
Yeah. What else can we say? We didn't talk about Ennio Morricone's beautiful score. You don't like it?
Just pops in once in a while. It's kind of dumb.
I've actually never been that crazy about this score.
Oh man,
it's kind of dumb. It pops in weird times, and like the way it's structured, it seems like we need more of it. Like it's like he had an idea and then just put it away.
Did you take particular notice of when it's literally almost the climax of the film when your heart should be racing and Laura is rushing home to check on Will? And there's like this jazzy flute in the background that could be easily scoring like a mime in a park. Some weird stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and that like that kind of
come on, the transformation theme.
Like growing up watching this movie, I'm sure I learned who Ennio Morricone was fairly young because I liked like Fistful of Dollars and stuff, but I don't like I didn't know that he did this until I sat down last night to watch this movie, and I'm like, fuck, Ennio Morricone. So I paid a little extra attention to the music, but also when his name came up on the credits, I thought to myself, oh, I always kind of disliked the music for this movie, and I love his stuff ordinarily, but I think there's something I don't particularly care for about this.
It's a mishmash. It's kind of fucked up in a way. Yeah. When the first time you hear the do, it's like a half hour in or so, right? It doesn't happen for a while, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that part because the rest of it's totally forgettable. Like beyond the there's nothing cool going on there at all.
It's forgettable atmospheric stuff. You
That's
do
the
get
thing.
like you get like a theme for Laura and Will towards the end. They get their own theme, but like it takes a long time to get there.
Yeah, and Night Court's a much better, in my opinion, theme.
To go back to the
Night
beginning
Court.
of the movie real quick. Yeah, Night Court. To go back to the beginning of the movie real quick. I fucking hate when your window fogs up and you gotta you're driving and you're trying to smear it at the same. That is the fucking worst, man. That is one of the worst things I hate. And so what happens to him could happen to anybody, that's
True.
But you hit a wolf in the middle of the road. Do you get out and drag
Pick it
the
up.
wolf by the paws to the side?
Yeah,
Who fucking does that? You drive
it up.
over the thing if you absolutely must. I mean, I'm a wolf lover, and I'm still not going to try and fuck with a wounded
I'm not
wolf.
taking a chance on a wolf. Yeah, maybe a
We gotta
fucking
get rid of
calico
that.
cat.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he was thinking. He's like, we gotta get rid of that wolf. I gotta drag this thing to the side of the road.
He
But
was a
like,
desperate man. He's like, I gotta touch this thing. Who knows what kind of bugs are on it? I don't know. Who
at the
cares?
very least, grab it by the hind legs, man.
It's
Come
kind of
on.
a shitty. Actually, now that you're bringing this up, it's a pretty shitty origin story. Now that I think about it, it's not. There's a better way to get bit by a wolf than that. I don't like it at all.
I mean, I like the simplicity of it that we don't have to like I was just talking about the Curse of the Werewolf, where there's like fucking 45 minutes spent explaining how Oliver Reed becomes a werewolf. Like, I don't care, man. It's a werewolf. Like, I don't need all this. Just show
I
me
was Vermont.
someone's bitten. I get it. So in that respect, I like it. But
It also brings up the fact that in this universe, just like on Paris says, the passion of the wolf can turn you as well. We're meant to assume that happens for Laura, but
clearly.
it's a cool aspect.
There's probably a draft of the script called The Passion of the Wolf.
There is 1,000%. That's why I'm thinking about bringing in the Passion of the Christ for my next selection.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
You guys notice Allison Janney pop in on this? Like,
it's her debut,
yeah.
her first vocal part in a movie.
Jenny.
Oh, is it really? That's where she got her SAG card, huh? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
True.
cool.
Osgood
Her and Richard-
Perkins.
Yeah, her and Richard
Party
Jenkins,
guest.
Her and Richard Jenkins show up in a lot of stuff together, so they must have clearly met here. Yeah, imposters and a bunch of
romance.
stuff. But I loved it. I loved it in this movie because she's talking to Christopher Plummer, and she's like, "Well, does that make me insane?" He's like, "Well, yeah, I think you're insane." She just loves it. She's like, "Oh, how delightful! He thinks I'm insane." And the lady she's talking to is like, "Oh, he's so charming. He called you insane."
Yep. Yeah, that's fun. And it's also Ron Rifkin's character is called Doctor. It's just called Doctor.
He does a
Which is
lot
great.
with that little role. He's pretty. He's funny.
All right, well, I think we've done it, gentlemen. We've pushed the limits of this interesting film. It's called Wolf, 1994. Mike Nichols directed.
man.
I love Mike Nichols. There's really nothing else to add, though.
We
The
never said.
direction,
Wait, we hadn't said the word asparagus yet, but now we have.
Oh, that's true. We haven't said asparagus. That's a good point. Marking my territory with asparagus. To me, this could have been an anybody movie. I don't see this much as a Mike Nichols movie. Just really quickly on that point of view, it's not heavy-handed Mike Nichols in my view. There's a few maybe kind of like cultural discussion points that are peppered in here, but that's what movies do. They always have, some movies just have that, but I don't know. I wonder what this would have been like in the hands of a different director, somebody a little more seasoned in this type of style as well. I really think could have had something different.
I kind of agree because this is such an outlier for Nichols. It doesn't really feel like his work, but also I'm glad that he did, because I think that a lot of people who got their hands on this movie would have just what's with all this fucking publicist drama. They would cut all that shit and they would just turn it into an action movie. I think a lot of people would have.
Well, that's the thing, man. I found myself on several occasions liking the civic commentary more than some of the werewolf stuff, and it's unbelievable that I would give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about book publishers, but I love all of that stuff in this, maybe even more than the silly beanie baby wolf heads.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's surprisingly, but I think a good movie that has a kind of a supernatural element in it, or a sudden twist, if it's going to do something, it's got to have another good movie in it already.
That's a great point, man, because a lot of Werewolf, the Wolfman, the original, and the Benicio del, what is your character going to do like throughout the movie, like in his personal life,
right?
And they can never really answer that. You get going from finding the gypsy or whatever to get like the secret of how you stop it. That's normally all they do.
Right.
Whereas this is a really interesting B story.
And I think that's why it often fails, because like vampires, like for some reason, people are a lot more willing to like play with their backstory.
Yeah.
You can imagine them as a Confederate soldier or whatever. But when it comes to werewolves, it's always like, well, he's got a plaid shirt on and he wears denim.
Yep. Denim. We got to rip the plaid shirt. I'm interested to see what Lee Winnell does with his Ryan Gosling Wolfman movie, because Invisible Man is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, awesome. Interview with the Vampire came out in '94 too. So just saying.
Nice. And Ryan Gosling loves werewolves. He loves this. He loves Universal monsters and all that kind of stuff. So I know he's going to take it real seriously, and he's a hell of an actor. So I'm excited for that.
Exciting!
Should we make the rounds?
Does it hold up or not? It's time for Wolf, 1994 film. We have to make a choice on this. Whose turn is to go first? Is it my turn? Is it your turn?
I don't know.
I'll go. I don't care. Wolf is a film from 1994, directed by Mike Nichols, starring Jack Nicholson, Michelle Pfeiffer, Christopher Plummer, Richard Jenkins, James Spader. Those are facts. Well it's got a lot of interesting cultural breakdowns, talking about, well, not just cultural. I mean, we're talking philosophical, existential dread going on here, which is not something, I don't know. I don't always watch werewolf movies, but I don't know if you always get that in your werewolf movie. But I do know that Matt Wilson's a great guy. We always appreciate him stopping in. You have a great Labor Day yourself too, Matt. Thank you very much. And if you're going to watch a movie on Labor Day weekend, Wolf, it's an okay choice, but I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think it's that good of a film. That's the problem here. So it's not, is it well done or not? It doesn't hold up because it's kind of silly and stupid, and the structure of the script and the actual organization of the film, they don't flow well together. And you guys mentioned third act issues, but really like second act stuff leads to the third act problems as well. They have these dynamics set up with the publishing showdown, but everything that's happening outside of it, the werewolf rules, what the wolf's intentions are, they kind of get lost after it's initially discussed with sitting down with Jack Nicholson and the doctor talking, with Randall and Dr. Elias having this discussion about it. You get into this mystical element. They say the word mystical many times, and they talk about Catholicism and how, less primitive cultures have been adopted by Catholicism because of the cultural and mystical fascination of it. There's some things there that I would like them to dive into from that point, but it ends there. It just kind of dies, and then it becomes about this man we feel bad for. So it doesn't hold up. It's not terrible, and I'm not chastising the movie that much at all. It just doesn't hold up. It's not for me anymore. I don't know if it ever was. If it was, it's not anymore.
Oh man,
Eric, do you want to go ahead?
No, I don't. This is breaking my heart, man. This is gonna break my heart.
Break my heart.
Is that Tony Braxton?
Yeah, nice job. All right.
This is a movie I've seen. Probably it's right up there with some of like my most watched films, and yet I can't sit here today and tell you that the movie holds up. I can say that I'm going to watch this many, many times over the course of my lifetime. Still.
Oh, wow.
But we go back. We do this all the time. Is this like a really good? Do I still feel the same way I did about it before? Am I still like, oh yeah, fucking love Wolf?
Well, you've seen it 40 times. You're going to watch it 40 more times and you're going to tell me it doesn't hold up?
I enjoy watching it. I just think it is kind of more dumb than it is like really cool and smart like I thought it was when I was a kid. There's some elegance there in the direction and the atmosphere, but these story issues are really bothering me at 41 years old here in 2021. That's why I'm going to say this is going to be a Cloud Atlas situation. I can't say it holds up right now, even though I think it brings a lot of interesting things to the table. Okay, I just wish it was a little more smart about them.
I'm glad this is recorded so you can go back and listen to yourself say this after you sit down and watch this movie again.
God damn it.
All right. You done? I'm sorry.
I love this movie. Dude, I love this movie.
You don't?
Oh, you can love it, but if it doesn't hold up,
you can't possibly still love it. I can understand if you
Yes,
no
you can.
longer love it, but then wouldn't you think it holds up if you love it? What the fuck are we doing here?
Oh,
I
because
don't know
he
what to tell
knows
you, man.
his film sensibilities are telling him that it doesn't hold up, but he still loves it because he's a human being. He can't help
It's
himself.
not. Does it hold up to society? Does it hold up to the fucking
Sure.
AFI? Does it hold up to you?
It depends who you're talking to.
It's not that good, but I still enjoy it.
Okay, all right.
Fuck, that was
Well,
hard.
I still think it holds up. You got fucking Christopher Plummer in a werewolf movie starring Jack Nicholson,
right?
Fucking James Spader. This is a classic '90s film with all of its flaws. There is not a. I cannot think of a werewolf movie that is better.
Demon Wolf.
I cannot think of a werewolf movie that is better. I can't. And if you don't like werewolves, you think werewolves are dumb, like a lot of people do, you're not going to like this, and that's fine. Yeah, Mike, I'm not surprised, but you don't like supernatural stuff. That this isn't your bag.
Oh.
But yeah, it holds up. What else can I say? This movie's a fucking classic.
Well, that was a kind of a torture. Does it hold up? Conclusion. Not easy. Not easy for some of us to accept these realities.
We need to write a constitution. We need a document to which we can refer to. What the fuck does it hold up even mean? Because if you love a film, if you enjoy the film, if you go out, both of you, you go out of your way to watch the movie afterwards, yet it doesn't hold up to you. What the fuck does this mean?
It's like the Second Amendment, man. It's complicated.
I'm looking at it right now, and I kind of want to watch it again.
Oh man, this is a fun one. We did Wolf, 1994 film. We hope you enjoyed it. Does it hold up or not? Why don't you let us know? Proton Mail is our email section where we offer a handle known as Cinema9Pod. Cinema9Pod at protonmail.com. Send us an email like Nick did today. Nick Buccinto with a genius email. We're going to watch Beast. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to watch Beast over the next 7 days. I'm excited about that. But before I do that, Eric Brancham, you got to tell me what movie I'm watching next week for this show.
I feel like if I'm allowed to go back, I'm literally going to do it for the first time in the show's history. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. You're right, Travis. I love this movie so much, but there's so many problems.
Yeah,
what are we watching next week?
I don't want to bully you into it, though.
What are we watching next week? Come on.
Well, I'll give you some options. We can either go to 1999 to 2008 or to 2010.
Ooh, I'd like to go to either 2008 or 10. What do you think, Travis?
Let's do 2010.
Yeah, 2010.
Darren Aronofsky's Black Swan.
Wow. Okay.
Black Swan.
Was the other one The Wrestler?
No.
Okay.
It's one of his favorite movies. He's not gonna.
Yeah, I already know that holds up. But I've seen Black Swan one time in 2010, and I loved it. I haven't seen it since. So
me too. I've only seen it once.
We revisited our I think for the most part we haven't recycled directors much. I know we did Todd Phillips at least twice.
Yeah, I think we did him 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
But now
we'll be the second Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah, we revisited Mike Nichols today, and now we're revisiting Aronofsky.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. We're inching towards 100 episodes here. So
yeah, we are.
By the way, the Last American Movie Star, we should do something like that. Start our own film festival and then con somebody famous into showing up to it for a Lifetime Achievement Award. I think it's a great idea.
Who are the candidates here? Who's on their last legs so we could our own
Gene Hackman?
film festival?
We get Gene out.
I don't think Gene's leaving the house for fuck all.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson, he's old.
We can tell him how much we appreciate his movies, but they suck. But we're gonna watch them.
That's right. Yeah.
Fuck.
Sometimes they're not great, but sometimes they still have merit. And in the end, that's what we do here on Cinema 9. Thanks so much for watching, listening. We're always very appreciative of it. We don't mean that in a joking manner. We mean it very much in a legit and honest manner. Thanks, everybody. Next week, we'll do Black Swan. Man, I have not seen that movie since it came out, dude. This is going to be interesting.
A minute.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this, but...
Well, as I remember, yeah. Were Swan? I don't know. It's another were type. So.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you guys next week on the Cinema 9 Podcast.
Asparagus.